Hey everybody, I'm back with a topic that I've been wanting to talk about for at least a few days now. Coming off the heels of the trailer of Ghost of Yotei, and I can't help but wonder, as I'm literally sipping tea, can't help but wonder why do we need to hire activists in these sort of spaces? Now, before I continue, please do me a huge favor and drop a comment below, leave a like, and let me know what you guys think about the recent controversy surrounding by the Ghost of Tsushima sequel, Ghost of Yotei. Now, from what I understand, because I literally have to look up this actress who's going to be voicing the new character of the Ghost of Yotei game, which is a sequel to Ghost of Tsushima, which is honestly one of my favorite video games I ever played and should have won Game of the Year that year instead of that Last of Us Part 2. But I digress. And now, after the long awaited sequel, we're not continuing on with Jin Sakai's story. We're 100 or 200 years into his feature of the story, following this woman who, from what I've seen in the trailers, in the era in Japan where flintlock pistols are being introduced. So you can tell what era we're going to be in. Now, some might argue the controversy is bringing up because, we got like a female-led character and people are just mad about that. If you dig a little deeper, there's more to it. It's not people being just chauvinistic. Sure, there's a sliver of the population that might be, but by a larger margin, you peel back the layers, there's more to it. The actress Erika Ishii, who's been, whether you somebody going to her socials agreeing with her or not, ends up blocking folks left and right. And of course, she has, I think she's a lesbian or a queer person. She even, from what I've seen, has, her pronouns posted and everything like that. And she's like a very active activist and everything like that. Her, Twitter feed is like a slew of stuff, which some are legitimate things for her to worry about and she want to be a part of. That's all well and good, but I it's just that you gotta you gotta vet these kind of people, because this whole the way I see it, you gotta leave certain things at the door. Whether you're a right wing, left wing, or center, when you come to these jobs, I think you gotta leave the kind of stuff at the door. It's gotta be about you hiring these people. You gotta do it on based on their merit. She's voiced some characters in video games here and there, from what I've seen. But it's just like people's concern is her idealism or activism is going to translate into this game. And her being the lead, she will probably start putting in certain inputs, especially since Sucker Punch is the developer. A lot of people at Sony, from what I'm understanding, got a little bit blindsided about what they're planning on making for a Ghost of Tsushima sequel. They think they do another Jin Sakai story, but no, they got a different era with a female lead, which is, that part is all well and good, but It's just how much influence this actually is going to have, because we're already inundated with a lot of political messaging and agendas in our content in the past handful of years. And people who voice their objections or their concerns on social media. Now, granted, the game haven't come out yet. It might still be good. It looks good. If you still got the same team, it will more than likely still be good. But people voicing their concerns is more so of a knee-jerk reaction, and I argue is a valid one, only because on some people think like, oh, they just don't like it because it's a woman. No, most of them, I argue, has that reaction because the past handful of years, whether it's in movies, TV shows, or video games, there's been, or even in some cases, comic books, and we've been over flooding, our eyes and brains with political messaging up the wazoo, where people go to these kind of contexts like video games or movies to escape that stuff, because we just want to not think about those kind of things for at least a couple hours of our time. Added on top of them probably girl bossifying this character in Ghost of Yotei. It might not be that, but as patterns start to emerge, we starting to see that there's been like these female-led characters, a lot of which, not all, but a lot of them have been trying to make these characters like uber powerful and Mary suing, which gets people to roll their eyes because you're skipping a critical part of making a good character, is the hero's journey. And part of that is to see this hero struggle so they can come out on top at the end. And more recently, which kind of hit the critical point, is the Star Wars Acolyte, where we hit another critical juncture where it's like they put so much emphasis on female-led this, or like future female, or Star Wars is female, and throwing in like a badger creature is like, who is he or they with us? It's like, why you need to throw that in there? Clearly you only threw that in there to try to make people feel seen and stuff like that. It's a lot. You throwing it in there for no rhyme or reason, just because Now, people involved in these type of mediums, if they're good at their job, it shouldn't really matter whether it's skin color or gender is, or sexual orientation should be. Are they good at their job? And once they get hired to these positions, can they leave whatever ideology they believe in, wherever the case may be, leave it at the door, because I'm here to work on this character. I have a job to do. I'm not trying to put my influence into this thing to try to manipulate the masses to see things how I want them to see. Now, messaging is all well and dandy, but that shouldn't be the first thing out the gate. Because, like it or not, because people can say, well, it's not hurting nobody. And it's like, well, kind of. Because video games, movies, TV shows, on some level, they do influence us in a particular way. They make us feel emotion that will linger and stick with us throughout the years. So it does matter what you put out and what you set up in these mediums. You gotta learn to check yourself, because ultimately it doesn't matter what an actress beliefs are. Can they set it aside so they can have this story that everybody can enjoy rather than a few select people can enjoy? Because only a few select people can enjoy. It excludes so many others, where it feels like, well, it's like why should I care about this person? Um, and then you gotta stop with the rhetoric. Oh, we don't like it, you don't buy it. Like, that's not a solution. That is a very uh dismissive response to people with genuine concerns, because their knee-jerk reaction is because the past handful of years we've been getting nothing but you put out, whether it's like the Marvels or Star Wars Acolyte or potentially Ghost of Yotei. You gotta make sure that you give the people what they want, that everybody can enjoy. It's like, you don't need to relate to everybody because of a particular orientation they might be. As I mentioned before, like, I'm not a white person, but I can still relate to Spider-Man because he is, he's a relatable character with a good arc, good backstory. He's layered. Same thing with like somebody like Daredevil. I'm not blind or white, but I can still relate to the character in some way because he is like uh there is time put into this character. There's many layers to this character that everybody can like glom onto in some facet. And we gotta also make sure that we gotta hopefully Ghost of Yotei can just stick to what made the first one so good. Most people are not Japanese, but we so much gravitated towards Jin's story. We're trying to rescue his uncle and save Japan from the Mongols. All of which is just like a lot of people can generally understand despite not being Asian. And that made that story so much so inviting and easy to digest. And people can say like, oh, it's like you can might mock people about them saying like, oh, this is a very woke. Like, you did kind of put this out there. You can't get mad at certain people who point out the wokeness if you make it woke. If that is your earnest first line of thinking and purpose to put out there to the masses to consume, and the masses point out that, and then you got the nerve to be mad at them from pointing out what you put out. That does not make any sense. It is a legit criticism. Hopefully, Ghost of Yotei isn't like that, but it doesn't bode well with like the lead actress with who's like, I argue probably like super left. I mean, you check her Twitter, it has like a lot of radical, I won't say radical, but there's a lot of stuff there which should cause Sony to be a little concerned. And before they hire certain people, if they're good at a job, you should also ask them like, hey, we checked your socials and stuff like that and what you do outside of your job, but is this going to affect how you come on board to our project. Because if not, can you please not, cause any upheaval during the process of this? Because that's the thing. That's with any job. I'm a very moderate, very middle of the road kind of person. Like I grew up, with democratic ideology, but when I go to work or come on board to certain projects, I leave that stuff at the door. I'm here to do a job and do what I'm paid for. And I can, pile around talking amongst the other castmates or whatever when not filming. But when I'm in the mode, it's like all that is left to the side for the time being. And not saying this actress can't do that, but it is leaving people with concern and their knee-jerk reaction, like the live-action Little Mermaid, the Acolyte, the Marvels. It's like so many stuff in the past handful of years. It's like, why would you not expect them to have like a cringe reaction every time they see a female-led character? Their first response immediately being like, oh my god, like another girl boss thing. That's what they did with the Furiosa. Even though it turned out good, their initial reaction was not pleasant. They're worried about the same thing Ghost of Yotei is being worried about right now. It's just like, oh my god. And it's on certain people in these writers' room to make sure that they do their due diligence, so that way once it comes out, people can be pleasantly surprised, just like with Furiosa, that oh no, this is what we expect from any character, regardless of gender, to go through in order to overcome the obstacle. Because I think just like with the live action Mulan, as super Mary Sue as that character was, it's just, in my opinion, certain people in Hollywood, certain studios don't want to look misogynistic. God forbid you make this character, this female, struggle in any kind of way, because we can't make her hurt. Excuse me. We can't make her struggle or overcome obstacles. Typical hero's journey stuff. God forbid you actually, put a woman through her paces, so that way when she overcomes that, we are overjoyed and happy with her. And like I said, hopefully Ghost of Yotei surprises us. It does look promising. I'm still gonna buy it, because despite the actress, everything else around it still seems in the same vein as Ghost of Tsushima. Hopefully they acknowledge the issue, and as they're writing the story, they do their due diligence and make sure like any agendas or activism isn't feeding into the narrative. Like, no woman should be a Ronin, or no woman should do this. And it's like, excuse me, none of that stuff. Because Ghost of Tsushima literally has like a female protagonist working alongside Jin, who is a capable fighter and a ninja. Nobody questioned it. Nobody, called her a girl boss or anything of that sort, because she was written well. That is the key thing that we're looking for. Everybody's looking for. Is this person written well, despite the gender, despite the race? Does this character have layers like Shrek? Does this character have layers? Because if the first thing that comes to mind that you write a character is that, oh, female, that's all we need, and she, does, like with no aspirations or goals or anything like that. It's like, she can take down this big burly Harvey Weinstein looking dude because she's women and women hear me roar and all this. Like, that's not exciting. I'm sorry, it's not exciting. And we want more to our female characters. There's so many female video game characters that I adore, like Lara Croft Tomb Raider. That is a perfect example of a properly written character. Despite her being a badass, she still struggles. She gets hurt. She fails sometimes. She gets things wrong. She doesn't just figure things out of the blue. She actually has to go through the process, stumble a couple of times before she gets to the right answer, just like anybody would. And like you run into that same problem with Rey Palpatine, where we see how many times Luke Skywalker trained to become a like a badass Jedi. He was a farm boy, had to be trained by Yoda and Obi-Wan. We actually get to see it. We see him like put up his blaster while blindfolded to dodge the little orb beams and stuff like that, and he gets hit. He isn't just flat out good at it right off the bat and kicking ass, because while we're watching this, if he's gonna just like overpower everybody. Same thing with, so by the flip effect, as we see with Rey, where she may have a connection to the Force, but we're looking at Kylo Ren, who is a blood relative in the Skywalker family, who's been trained by Luke Skywalker himself since the time he was an infant. I don't care. It doesn't matter if he had like a handicap where his side was hurting and he was bleeding. He should still have been, knocking heads very easily of this woman who is just learning. It's like me fighting Conor McGregor, and he just got out of like a hip surgery. I will still get my bell rung, despite me training martial arts for maybe a week and going up against Conor McGregor, who's been training for most of his adult life, despite the handicap of his side might be hurting. I will still get my bell rung. I will be laid out. It does not matter. It would not make any sense for me to knock out Conor McGregor because I trained a little bit, in the past few days. None of that connects in your brain. That is the proper comparison to what we see with a lot of these Mary Sues that just overcome just because, with no rhyme or reason. That is the big issue here. And that, going back to Ghost of Yotei, is a lot of people's initial knee-jerk reaction concern that we looking at Ghost of Yotei, this female character, that by itself would have been fine. But with this actress who's like a super activist coming on board to this project, why would you not expect them to have some kind of negative response to it, which caused this backlash in the first place? Where it's like, is this woman going to affect how this character is going to operate in game? Because nobody's going to find any enjoyment if we just have an overpowered character that with a story narrative that works out in her favor almost all the time. That's not going to be fun. But, like I said, we might be surprised. I'll be a little bit more concerned if they completely overhaul the entire studio that worked on Ghost of Tsushima and just brought in a whole new crew. Then I'll be a little bit concerned because, like, you don't got the same people on board. So that adds to the concern. But no, it seems like we still got the same crew. So despite this actress, we might still get a good product. But in conclusion, I think that a lot of people in these writers' room and the developers, where it comes to like whatever medium, movie, TV show, comic, video game, we gotta vet a lot of these people that we bring on board. Don't bring them on board because they fit some type of quota. are they good at their job? Do they have credentials to back it up? That are mostly successful stuff. I mean, sure, you can have like certain things that fail here and there. It's like nothing's perfect, but if they brought in like a person who helped write the first PS4 Spider-Man game and God of War Ragnarok, so he has a good pedigree in these successful games. Let's bring him on board. He's a gay Asian person. Doesn't matter. He's very good. He has the backup to the credentials to back up his claim that he has a very good resume. So let's bring him on board. And that person that being brought on board has to check their ideology, at the door. So like, I'm here to do a job. Let's write this story to make it as good as it possibly can. That is something that we all will like. Doesn't matter anything else beyond that. But that is just my thoughts on the subject. Hopefully Ghost of Yotei will be excellent. I have hope for it. So it's not a complete wash. Unlike things like Suicide Squad game, this one still seems very promising. So anyway, that's just my thoughts on the subject. Let me know what you guys think about it. Are you still looking forward to it? What are your concerns about it at all? And I will see you guys next time. Take care. Have a great weekend.